Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Miser's Guide to Evony. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Keep 20, and yes, we're finally in the 20s in Evony. We are out of the teens, we are finally adults, in terms of Evony at least. But Keep 20 is really only halfway there, probably even less than halfway. I mean, if you consider all the work that you're going to have to do. But in terms of Keep level, we only got up to 35 as of the recording of this video, so technically you're more than halfway in terms of Keep level, but in terms of effort to get there, I'd say you're probably about 15% of the way, maybe, probably even less. We're going to talk about, for Keep 20 in this video, we're going to talk about required buildings and resource costs. We're going to talk about the unlocked buildings and features at this point of the game. We're going to think ahead to future Keep levels, and we're going to talk about some of my recommendations and commentary for this Keep level and preparing for some of the future ones. And this commentary is going to get even more important as we go along because really, like I said, you're only maybe 10 to 20% of the way through your progress in getting to Keep 35. So there's a lot of efficiency that we could be looking at, different priorities that we can be looking at. So there's going to be a lot more commentary and a lot more valuable commentary as we get into some of the tougher Keep levels. With that being said, let's get started on Keep 20. So the building requirements for Keep 20 are very simple. It's one of those ones that all you have required is the walls. You have to have walls 19 for Keep 20. In terms of the resource requirements, though, we're starting to get into bigger numbers, but still not anywhere as significant as you're going to see in future Keep levels. So we're at 8 to 10 million of each resource right now just for the Keep alone, and then if you throw in Walls 19 into the mix, we're somewhere between 13 to 15 or so million of each resource, which seems like a lot, but really it isn't in the long picture. But because these numbers are increasing, what you will find is that your resource chests will be reducing. And we've not really had much of a problem so far with resource boxes and keeping on top of things, just because Evony does a really good job of filling your resource supply with resource box from the quests and first downs and so on. But as those start to dwindle, because things start to slow down, you're going to be running out of these resource boxes. So things are going to get a little tougher in our mid-20s. In terms of unlocked buildings, well, it's still that dry spell. There's not a whole lot going on. Don't worry, there'll be a couple more features coming up in the next couple Keep levels, but nothing yet. So no buildings, no features. Thinking ahead to future Keep levels, we have Sawmill 20, that's going to be required for Keep 21. We have Barracks 22, that will be required for Keep 23. We have Stables 23, that's required for Keep 24. We have Academy 24, that is required for Keep 25. And one of the things I'm seeing here, the Sawmill 20, you only have to have one sawmill up to 20. You don't necessarily have to do all of them, although I do recommend at some point, and I'm going to talk about this in one of the future videos, to start to work on those in-city tiles. Right now, you don't have to. Right now, just get one sawmill up to level 20, and that should be sufficient for now. We're still, for the large part, relying on our resource chests from bosses and quests and so on, so you don't necessarily need that. And one thing you can see here is the Keep, because there's no military, and it's something I've talked about in a few videos already, because there's no military, and because we're also keeping our warehouse at a high enough level that everything is protected, we have no reason to have a bubble. So we are actually able to save up gems. So far, only saved up about 15,000, but there are a lot of boxes of chests as well. So I don't really know how much there is in total, but not needing to spend any of the gems on 3-day bubbles or to spend the 24-hour bubble tokens just allows us to stockpile. There's absolutely no reason for anyone to hit Archetype right now because Archetype has nothing to take. If they hit, they're not going to take any resources, and they aren't going to kill any troops because there's what, like 10 troops, 15 troops, something insignificant. So they'll probably, in fact, lose as much as they actually gain from the attack. So I wouldn't worry too much if you're in that kind of a situation, you're following this along pretty well, you don't really need to worry about bubbles yet. But I also want to say that in doing so, this is a strategy, and eventually you're going to get to a point where your resource production is higher than your warehouse capacity, and you'll be producing too much to not protect. So when you do get to that point, and I think that will probably be around keep 25 or 26, somewhere around there. When that does happen to you, you need to start bubbling, and you have to become really, really good with your bubble maintenance. You have to set timers or do whatever you need to do to make sure you don't drop a bubble, because in this game, if you drop a bubble, you can lose everything in seconds, really. And yes, you can build back, but it's just better not to have lost all that in the same place, in the first place, because everything there is preventable just by making sure that you put up your truce protection. All right, so let's get on to the quick recommendations other than what I just said there. You want to continue to patrol for your Monarch gear, and at this point, ideally you should be at level 4 Monarch gear for your crown, for construction, and for research. You want to be at level 4 ideally. Level 3 is okay, but level 4 ideally or higher. You also want to, as you feel like it, work towards your super advanced dispatch. That's in the military tree. I know we've gotten really tired of working on that military tree, but now you're doing it for a purpose other than because you have to. It's like those books that they assign you in school that you have to read. And you're like, oh man, I really don't want to read that. But then you find one that you actually want to read, and then it's so much easier. Well, you know what? You're going to get a 5th march out of this. So it is going to benefit you. It's not a requirement, but you definitely want to do it because really it's just so beneficial to have that 5th march. You're also going to get another march, and this is going to be from VIP. You don't even have to spend. Eventually, you're going to get to VIP 5. And just by logging in every day, or from collecting those VIP tokens from the wall that you get every once in a while, you're going to get to VIP 5 within a certain period of time. Once you get to VIP 5 and you have your VIP activated, then you will have that additional march. So the VIP march and the super advanced dispatch bring you up to 5 marches. You're going to be at 5 marches all the way until keep 35. So that's as far as you can get, and the faster you can get to 5 marches, the better for you. What else can I say? In terms of the VIP, you can see at the top left of the screen right now, it says VIP 2 for this account, and it's in gray. That means it's not activated. I personally don't think that there's any, like that it's really worthwhile to activate VIP before you get to 5, because really the benefits are so incredibly small. But you can check it out and see what you think. If you want to activate your VIP, the way that I recommend doing it is going to the black market. And in the black market, you can search for the one there's VIP for 30 days for 3,000 gems. And that's a pretty good deal when you have the extra march and so on. And that's what I would recommend to do when you do want to activate your VIP. Okay, and lastly here, we're talking about research and construction and typography. You already know many, many times. Lastly, I want to talk about the Forge. So we're at Keep 20 now. Hopefully you're in an alliance that has been doing bosses and so on, and you've been able to get some King's chests, scroll chests, and so on. And if you have, that's wonderful, because Keep 21, the next keep level, is going to allow you to build Forge 21, in which you'll be able to make King's gear. Now, I don't recommend making a whole lot of King's gear. You want to specifically make the Fearless ring, and that's going to increase double drop rate for the generals that have that ring equipped. So keep that in mind. You want to get in as many of those upper boss levels as possible to get those King Scroll. I think it drops from like 11 and 12. I mean, it drops all 11 and up, I believe, off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've worried about King's rings and so on. But I think it's 11 and up. So if you're getting into those, hopefully you'll get some King Scrolls to drop. And when you open your boxes, hopefully you'll get some King's ring, because that's really what we're looking for right now. When you do have your King's ring, you definitely want to get that forge up. So if your forge is lagging behind and it's only at like 10 or something, bring that up to max level as quickly as possible so that you can convert that to a Forge 21 and get those King's Rings underway as soon as possible. That's all I've got for level 20, so I'll see you in the next video, but a quick shout out to all the channel members and everyone that's supporting the channel. Thank you very much for being a supporter, and I will see you in the next one.